On this day in history, back in the year 1886, at least 8 people are killed when a bomb is thrown at police during a riot near Haymarket Square in Chicago, with the blame for it being attributed to anarchists. While most of the victims were police officers, the number of protesters killed or injured is still up in the air, because many fled once the violence started, not wanting to be associated with having been there. The body of one protester was found, and estimates say as many as 60 were injured by both the blast and the return fire that other officers gave once the bomb went off. But again, that's a low estimate because some protesters may have slunk off to die or recuperate elsewhere or have their bodies carried away. The reason for the secrecy was because the protests made in good faith by labor unions wanting the federal government to enforce its own laws against states like Illinois limiting work hours to 8. Well, that was the new law. States like Illinois turned a blind eye to it by allowing businesses to pressure desperate workers into signing waivers to work longer hours as a condition of employment. But like anything, you have the good labor camp, and then you have the most vocal and well-organized vocal camp, which is often the communists. And that's what happened here. The socialists, communists, and anarchists descended on the May 1st general strike organized by the Federation of Organized Trades and other labor unions. The first day ended peacefully as roughly 35,000 workers put down their tools and marched up streets like Michigan Avenue. But by May 3rd, strikers began attacking scabs, workers who were willing to break strikes by continued working. And in turn, police became more aggressive with protesters, killing 2 outside the McCormick Reaper factory. Anarchists began circulating leaflets throughout the city calling for revenge the following day, May 4th, at the Haymarket Square. One anarchist leader, August Spies, a German immigrant, headlined his flyer, "Working Men to Arms." He spoke at the square and was followed by another anarchist organizer for the event, Albert Parsons, the leader of the American branch of the International Working People's Association. Now, Parsons has a very interesting story. He served as a Confederate soldier during the Civil War, but became a radical Republican after the war and married a fellow activist named Lucy Parsons. She was born into slavery in Texas around the year 1853. Her heritage includes African American, Native American, and Mexican ancestry. While both Parsons and Spies were on stage speaking, a still unidentified individual ran into the crowd and threw a bomb at the officer standing nearby. For this to make sense, one thing you need to know about anarchists is that before there was Antifa, there were anarchists. They marched fists in the air past the homes of wealthy individuals to intimidate them. Their newspapers and editorials regularly voiced support for the assassinations of European officials and royalty at the hands of fellow anarchists, and often published how-to guides on how to make bombs with dynamite while extolling their supposed ease of carry and the ability to make one man equal to that of an army. Keep in mind that throughout the 1890s, anarchists had assassinated the president of France, the premier of Spain, the empress of Austria, the king of Italy. Anarchism may have also played a role in the assassination of U.S. President William McKinley, and an anarchist attacked the Paris Stock Exchange with sulfuric acid and gunshots in 1896, exactly 10 years after the Haymarket Affair. But while anarchism was a serious public threat at the time, that doesn't mean that we can abrogate the rights of the accused through guilt by association arguments. Because that's what happened to Spies, Parsons, and 6 other anarchists who weren't even at the rally but had alibis elsewhere. Prosecutors didn't even try to argue that any of them were the bomb thrower, had anything to do with the bomb or the bomb thrower, or had any advanced knowledge of the plot. Instead, they were charged as being accessories to murder because of their speeches in support for the cause. Prosecuting attorney Julius Grinnell told the court that, quote, "Law is on trial, anarchy is on trial. Gentlemen of the jury, convict these men, make examples of them, hang them, and you save your institutions, our society," end quote. And that the jury did, sentencing 7 of the men to death by hanging and giving a 15-year prison sentence to the other man. The decision was so bad that even the mayor and the judge winced at it. The judge intervened afterward by writing to the governor on behalf of 2 of the convicts, getting their sentences commuted to life in prison because they asked for clemency, which state law required. The other men refused to ask for clemency, so the governor couldn't intervene. But their wives did what they could to appeal the execution, and even bigwig bankers like Lyman J. Gage favored clemency. However, Marshall Field, one of the most powerful businessmen in the city, was against clemency, and so he was able to sway the other businessmen.